So I've been thinking a lot about making a Mother's Day video, and you know, I was going through ideas like French toast and you know, making a quiche and doing all this stuff. And then I really thought about it and I was like, what do moms really want for Mother's Day? And honestly, I think my mom just wants to do nothing. You know, just to not have you be a burden on her is what she wants for Mother's Day. So the best way to not be a burden on your mother on Mother's Day and to actually do something for her that she can enjoy, because she doesn't have to worry about cleaning up after you, is just to keep it simple, right? So today we're gonna make a simple frittata. So I got all my ingredients ready to go. That's the most important thing when you're trying to keep things simple, clean, and organized. Today in my frittata, I'm going to use Italian sausage meat. Eggs, of course. I have 6 eggs here, right? So always think like 2 eggs a person. I have some ricotta. Always make sure you season your ricotta with salt and pepper. Otherwise it's not really going to taste like much. Some mozzarella cheese, and I just have some cherry tomatoes with a couple cloves of garlic sliced up in there. And of course I have some fresh basil from my garden. So to chop the basil up, I'm just gonna try to get all my leaves together. I just want to do a rough chop. So I like to have the nice big basil leaves in there. And they're really gonna shrink down with heat. So just gather them all together, cut right through. That's good enough. So basically how a frittata works is you mix up your eggs like scrambled eggs, right? You have that set aside. If you have meat in your frittata or vegetables that you want to get some of the water out of, basically, you want to saute, you're going to cook that first. So I'm going to cook my sausage in the pan, and then I'm going to add in my tomatoes and basil, and then quickly I'll add in the cheeses before adding the eggs on top. Give that a little swirl, and I'm going to throw it in the oven to bake the rest of the way. Preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Once it's done in the oven, I'm going to flip it out onto my cutting board. So you want to make sure your cutting board is bigger than the circumference of your pan. Alright, because when you flip it out, if it's not, then you're going to be in trouble. So that is it for our mise en place. We're going to head over to the stove. At the stove, always make sure you're organizing in steps, because usually when you're cooking on the stove, everything happens really fast. Also, I made sure my oven was ready to go at 400 before I started, because this is going to happen pretty quickly and I don't want to be ready to go and then my oven's not hot enough. So the first thing I'm going to do is start melting some butter in the pan. I just like the flavor that it brings, but you can go ahead and use whatever you have, oil. And then I'm going to cook my meat next. So if you're using meat, I'm using Italian pork sausage. I have like an Italian flavor profile going on right now. So that's what I'm going with. Then you're going to do your veg and your aromatics. I'm only using cherry tomatoes. I have a little bit of garlic in there and some basil. I'm going to do that all together. If I was going to cook something maybe a little bit bigger, like peppers that need to cook longer than, let's say, basil, then I would put the peppers in first so they have a little more time to cook. Makes sense, right? Alright, so my butter's almost ready. Now, I just wanted to mention real quick, this is probably going to be obvious for most people. Just make sure when you do this, you're using a pan where the handle can go into the oven. Make sure it's metal, it's not, you know, plastic. You don't want it to melt. Also, when you're taking it in and out of the oven, make sure you're holding it with a towel so you don't burn yourself. Alright, so my butter's getting nice and hot. And if you were gonna do chicken or something, you would just want to make sure that you cook it all the way through first, and then you know, chop it into bite-sized pieces and throw it back in. So I'm just gonna let that brown up for a bit, you know, keep stirring it every once in a while. But I'm also gonna clean as I go. The plate I just took the meat off of, I'm gonna put that in the dishwasher. So I am breaking up the meat a little bit, but I want to get that nice browning on there. So I'm not really moving it around too much. So once your sausage is cooked all the way through and you got some nice browning going on it, you're going to want to add your vegetables, your aromatics. Okay. At this point, I'm going to add a little bit of salt just because the, you know, the basil and the tomatoes and stuff are not seasoned. Alright, so the sausages, the eggs are, you know, the cheeses are, but just a little bit for the tomatoes, dry out some of their water. Again, try not to play with it too much, but make sure all the tomatoes are on the pan. So it's where they're roasting. Now if you had cooked chicken or something else that you had to cut up and put back in, I would recommend that you cook your veg as much as you want it cooked before you add that bit in. So you're just really reheating. So all sides will get nice and blistery. That's what I'm looking for. Alright, that's looking really nice. So I'm going to add in some dollop of cheese, some mozzarella cheese, my eggs, and then we're going straight into the oven. So I'm not going to use this whole thing of cheese, but and my egg. So it's important with the egg that we fill the whole pan up with it. That's all we're trying to do before we toss it in the oven. Alright, it's already starting to cook, so work fast. Alright, that's good. No holes. Turn the burner off, and then we're going right into the oven. Alright, my oven's at 400. Oops, my rack is in the middle. I guess always check your oven, just in case there's a sheet pan in there you didn't know about. Alright. Make sure your pan fits in the oven before you throw it in there. My other sheet pan's already hot in there, so I'm just going to leave it in there. So this shouldn't take that long. So I'm going to check on it in like 10 minutes. We're looking for the egg to set. So it's not going to ripple or anything. It's just going to wobble a little bit. Alright, so while the 10-15 minutes I'm waiting for my stuff in the oven, got time to lean, so I'm going to clean. Okay, so our frittata is almost ready, and we need to make sure that we're prepared for it before we take it out of the oven. So I have a spatula, my cutting board that's big enough for frittata. And I have a knife to cut it up with. But most importantly, I have a dry side towel, so I'm not going to burn myself. I'm actually going to get two, just in case I need to use both hands. Okay, so I have both my side towels ready to go. So I'm going to get that frittata and I'm going to flip it over onto my cutting board. Alright, so I got my frittata out of the oven. Really quickly, I'm just going to go around the edge so I know it's not sticking. Alright, you can see that the eggs are nice and set. Alright, now you have to do this fast and with confidence. Right? Just gonna flip it out onto the cutting board. And this is non-stick, so it's probably gonna come out super fast. Alright, 1, 2, 3. Bam! That looks beautiful. Oh man, so excited about it. Now you can serve this as is. You could sprinkle, maybe a little Parmesan on top if you have any. I'm gonna cut into my frittata. I'm gonna cut it like a piece of pie. See Noelle salivating over there. So I'll make sure to cut him a piece. And I got all my dishes done, so my mom doesn't have to worry about that. Keep it simple this Mother's Day and let your mother relax.